Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Jason and Jaime here. Jaime, before we get going with Michael Irvin and all the other things we want to talk about, first, a big shout out to Lindsay Lohan.
Yay! Yes, she announced that she is having her first baby with her husband. Super exciting. Such like a proud mama moment. I feel like for me, you know, we've been at TMZ a long time.
Right.
We've seen the journey.
She's on the Mount Rushmore of TMZ celebs that we've covered over the years.
Absolutely, a founding father of TMZ. And it's just amazing that, you know, her life's together. She's back acting. She's happily married, and now a baby. So good for her.
Yeah, it's cool. It's tempting for me as a skeptic and a cynic to sort of say we cheered when Britney Spears got out of the conservatorship, and that didn't work out that well. Are we cheering too soon that Lindsay Lohan is procreating? But I guess that's unfair, right? She's had a good last few years.
I do. I think that, you know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what her situation there is.
Even if you were, you wouldn't know.
No, but it all appears to be going well. She just for the fact that she went on a press tour in the winter to promote her Netflix movie, and there were no hijinks or weird things that happened there. She showed up. She went to the interviews. She didn't say anything crazy. So I have to assume things are all okay.
Well, we do wish her the best. She has been not just somebody who we've covered over the years. She's been a good friend to TMZ in that she has always spoken candidly. When we've gotten her out back in the day, she was more than willing to talk to our cameras. She's always been sort of somebody who understood the game that Hollywood is and understood her role in it and played it well. And unfortunately, you know, she went through a bunch of tough years, but I think we can all sort of be happy for her that she seems to have come out the other side.
Definitely.
Not quite such a happy situation. We've got Michael Irvin. Accusations were made against him Super Bowl weekend and this is Michael Irvin, former Dallas Cowboy wide receiver, NFL great, Hall of Famer. He was accused of coming on to a woman, touching a woman on her arm without her consent in a hotel in Dallas. Phoenix, that's what I meant to say. Thank you. In a hotel in Phoenix, she accused him of reaching out and touching her arm during a conversation without her consent, causing her to step back, becoming visibly uncomfortable. Irvin then allegedly asked the alleged victim, whether she knew anything about having, quote, a big black man inside of her. Now he has come back. Jaime, you've watched the video. We both watched the video.
Yes.
What's your takeaway regarding this confrontation? You can describe it a little bit and then give us your sense of what happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, before we get into the video, Michael Irvin came out and flat out said, I don't speak like that. I've never spoken like that. I totally deny saying that. This woman is an employee of the hotel, so let's also keep in mind it's not just some drunk woman at a bar. I watched the video, and his attorneys seem to think that it is completely gonna, you know, vindicating.
Exonerate him, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if maybe it's a female perspective. I could not disagree more.
Wow, this is a real Mars and Venus moment for us, Jaime.
Yes. This video is like the blue dress from years ago. Everyone sees it differently.
Well,
is it gold or is it blue?
The blue dress, right. So, look. I think you and I have a lot of respect for each other. We can approach things objectively. Yeah. So let me describe as objectively as I can what happens in this video. So you see Michael Irvin entering the hotel. Obviously, big famous dude. You see this woman, a hotel employee, make sort of a bit of an effort to walk in his direction in order to cross paths with him. Totally fine, innocuous enough. He's a big star. The third person in the video is her boss in this hotel bar, who's clearly displeased with her for not going to her job and instead going to walk to Michael Irvin. You then see she and Michael Irvin having a conversation. It goes on for a couple of minutes. You can't hear what they're saying. You do hear see a couple of times that he reaches out and touches her arm during this conversation. For what it's worth, and it's not worth much, he's a single man. He's not married. We don't know her status. So there's no adultery here. It's clear to me, I think objectively speaking, that he is hitting on her, but that's okay. What's not okay is if he touched her without her consent or made these vulgar remarks to her. You walk away from this video, you look at this video, and you see that he's acting inappropriately. Is that right?
I don't know if this video is impossible without audio. There is no audio. We don't know what happened. I just when the attorney came out and said, "Oh, we have the video," like, yay, I was ready to watch this and say, that poor guy, and I just didn't feel like that. First of all, he is, in my opinion, visibly very drunk. 2, the attorney keeps talking about the flustered manager. It is irrelevant. I don't know why. It really had nothing to do with the interaction between Michael and the woman, so I don't know why the attorney is so focused on that.
Well, here's what I would say. The reason I think the attorney's focused on that is because, again, she makes an effort to walk just outside of the bar in his direction. It seems to me, and maybe you disagree, that she is trying to cross paths with him.
Yes, in the beginning.
Okay.
Yes.
So the point that I think the attorney's trying to make is her boss wants her to get to work. And I think what he's saying is that the attorney's saying she sought him out, not just to the point that she tried to cross paths with him, but she was actually blowing off her work obligations to get near him.
But now we're getting into your asking for it territory.
No,
you can change your mind at any time. I'm sure she did.
1,000%. 1,000% you can change your mind at any time. But he's trying to paint a larger picture of this is a woman who wanted to be with him. He sort of blows her off, and she is now getting in trouble with work because afterwards you see Michael Irvin and the girl leave each other's company, and the manager immediately takes her aside to have a conversation with her, probably pissed off, and that's when she makes the allegations. So I think the assertion Michael Irvin's attorneys are making is that she made this up in an effort to get out from being punished for not focusing on her job.
The whole thing, so also watching the body language, I don't know if this is just a female perspective that a man watching this video wouldn't understand. She, to me, seems incredibly uncomfortable. She's also in the business of hospitality. She works at a hotel. She can't tell a man to F off. So she's standing there. You can tell at one point she steps back. Something he has said or something he has done or whatever makes her retreat. And she's still standing there, and it turns into like pleasantries. I can tell that she's almost kind of thinking of a way to get out of the conversation. And his body language is he's leaning towards her. He is like square right in front of her. I see it differently as a woman. I don't know if that means he assaulted her. I don't know.
No, I don't
what
think there's
was
that
said.
accusation of that kind of an assault.
I also don't know.
Touching her without her consent.
Sure, and that I don't think is a problem. Men, he didn't touch her. He didn't touch her private part. He didn't touch her breast.
He didn't try and hold her against her will.
No, you can't.
Right.
If a man touches your arm and you don't like it, then you just say, please don't touch me.
I'm sure you've been in that position before at bars where a guy tries to put his hand on your back or arm and you feel a little bit uncomfortable.
That's what I'm saying. You don't file a lawsuit. And
she can do what she wants. Yeah,
I guess. And maybe this is a completely Pollyanna view of life. For a woman to make up that he said, have you ever had a big black man inside of you is wild.
Yeah.
And let's also keep in mind.
That is a good point.
Like, that is, then she's evil. She's an absolutely evil human being. I also want to keep in mind that this is not a Los Angeles hotel where they're used to celebrities and they know the game. It's Super Bowl weekend. It's Phoenix. This is probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened to her.
Well, I'm sure there were other. I'm sure it's a fancy hotel, and there were other NFL sort of, apparatchik there at the time.
All I know is from watching this video, I think it could possibly be more damning than the attorney thought.
Yeah. So it pains me to hear you say this because I hate the fact that I see things from a male perspective, and maybe I'm not able to see it from a woman's perspective. But I just look at the video differently than you do.
Yeah.
We see all the same things happening.
Yeah.
I don't see her back off uncomfortably.
Oh, see, that's because she's doing it in girl code. You gotta be polite. She's being as polite as she can be. She's a hotel worker. This is a very famous man. It's in front of her boss. He's clearly drunk. It seems she is not. She's on the job.
Well,
that doesn't mean anything.
Right. No, I assume she's not. I don't know. By the way, you're reading into it that he's drunk. I don't know I don't know that he had come in. I believe.
Well, keep in mind he slaps himself 3 times in the face after she walks away. I don't know anybody sober that does that.
Well, I think what he was saying there is, my God, she was so hot. Like I'm mesmerized by her. That's what I think, and I'm just gleaning that from what I see, and I have
You see a hot chick and you slap your face, Jason Beckerman?
No. But he was doing it. He was performing at that point, right? There were a couple guys who
they're
we knew.
also at a bar and it's late night. Like, are we trying to think that he's having Shirley Temples?
No, I think he had just walked in the hotel. Though.
Probably from another bar.
Well, maybe. Look, I can't speak to it. Maybe he was drunk. It very well may have been. I don't know. What I see though is a few things. Number one. A woman who is eager to cross paths with a big-time NFL celebrity. 100%. That means nothing. We can agree on, means nothing to the outcome of her claims. Number two, you see them having what initially was a very cordial, friendly conversation. Mm-hmm. A lot of hand gesticulations, a lot of sort of, I don't know, the way you would talk to a celebrity, the way I would talk to a celebrity, trying to be as charming as I possibly could. At some point, you see him take over the conversation and do most of the talking. And she is definitely less animated than she had been at the beginning. I think where you and I differ, and it might be the girl code thing you talked about, and I just didn't see this when I watched it, although I try to be pretty open about these things. And I know I have an idea. I have 2 daughters. I have an idea what women go through in these situations in their efforts to kind of distance themselves from an awkward situation. I just didn't see a woman who at any point, in all you see is a video from 50 yards or whatever, mm-hmm. I didn't see a woman who at any point, to me, appeared to be uncomfortable. I saw a woman who was engaged in the conversation. Now, in his process of hitting on her, did he say something that was offensive? Did he make a comment about a big black man inside of her? To your point, I think you're right. It's hard to fathom making that specific of a claim up. I mean, once in a while these things happen. People always cite to the one-offs where 1 in 100 a woman isn't telling the truth about things like this. I guess it's possible it's that he made it up, but more likely than not, it's true that he said that to her. Mm-hmm. Now, is it actionable?
And it seemed like she's okay.
Yeah. And to your point, I mean, I'm not sure his life is ruined, but he was fired, if not fired, at least sort of indefinitely suspended from his job. He wasn't able to comment on the Super Bowl. It has harmed his reputation significantly.
He's on TMZ.com with the word sexual assault next to his name. That's not great.
Yeah, I think it's accused of, though.
Yeah, accused. Okay. Alleged.
So Irvin's attorney, Levi McCathern, said, quote, "There's no doubt from watching this, the woman is not offended." McCathern said, quote, "This is not a sexual assault. This isn't sexual harassment. This isn't sexual misconduct. Her allegations that all these things, that it did constitute some sort of an assault and sort of an offense are laid out in her lawsuit pretty clearly." It's hard to know where go. I mean, the court process is going to play itself out. I think, there's no indication of criminal charges. It would be impossible, I think, to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed a crime. What we're talking about is civil lawsuit here.
The only thing I'm going to play devil's advocate is her job fine? Like, did she have, like, if she got fired that night because she was, like, not at the bar doing what she was supposed to, then we might have more.
Well, then her claim would be against Marriott, though. Right, that wouldn't have that.
Okay,
she's not going to get fired because he assaulted her.
I'm just trying to see your side if she's trying to save face, and then
Yeah, no. Look, her claim, if she got wrongfully terminated, that would be a claim against Marriott, not against Michael Irvin. If he went to the front desk and said this woman's a liar, and defamed her, that's a defamation lawsuit that caused her damages in the form of a loss of her job. But the choice to fire her would have been Marriott's. That's where her lawsuit would reside.
Got it.
So there's a lot more to play out. This is going to go forward. I find this kind of stuff fascinating.
Agreed.
All right. I'm glad we finally came to agree.
Agreed.
Real quick, something else we can also agree on really fast just to end things up is Gisele is banging the Jiu-Jitsu instructor, right?
Duh.
So we saw new images of them from Costa Rica once again. No kids in sight. The two of them together out doing their
walking dogs.
Walking dogs, shirtless. Good God, they're handsome people.
Yes, they are.
Before that? These most recent images came out. Were you convinced they were shagging?
I just kind of sat back and was like, sure, whatever you want, Gisele, whatever makes you feel good. And then it was like, oh no, we're just friends. There was horseback riding, and then there was beach and rock throwing.
But the kids were always around, and I just always justified it to some degree as she takes him and
I mean, does he not have a job? Like he's spending a lot, but I'm saying he's spending a lot of time in Costa Rica if he's not.
Really wealthy people have these kind of folks at their beck and call and that kind of thing. But now they're there together. There's no kids in sight. They're clearly banging.
Duh.
All right, one last note before we go. We've heard a lot of complaints that we do not have video on YouTube these days of the podcast. We're getting a new studio. It's very exciting. Jaime, have you seen it?
No.
Oh,
I haven't, but I'm excited to get out of the sound booth.
There's brick. There's library shelves. It looks fantastic. Don't let the library shelves throw you off. It looks fantastic. It really is going to be awesome. So we'll be back Monday with all new video episodes of the TMZ Pod.
I'll do my hair.
Me too. See you guys. Bye.